Have you ever popped in an old game and researched it to find out that there hasn't been a new game in decades? They might have re-releases and ports, but no true new release. We live in an era where the revival of seemingly dead icons is possible. In this video, I'm going to give you my list of gaming icons that I believe need to have a comeback story. Starting off with the Gecko who's still stuck in the 90s. Gex was the poster child of the Panasonic 3DO, but would be ported to the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 since the 3DO failed to make sales. The wisecracking Gecko is still beloved by many to this day, and the fans were heard when limited run games dropped the Gex trilogy. Originally, there was going to be one back in 2000, but it was never released. Of course, it wouldn't have the modern buzzes and whistles. The games were well received back in the day. However, first game is not as fondly loved today compared to Enter the Gecko and Deep Cover Gecko. Some aspects of the games do feel dated, but I think that's what gives Gex his charm. If Gex were to have a fourth game, or a reboot, I imagine Dana Gould would return to voice Gex with some quirky lines of his own. Can you imagine Gex making references to the MCU and the current state of Star Wars and or Disney? It'd be hilarious! Also, would Gex get a redesign similar to Bubsy? Oh, and make them kiss. Okay, that's a joke to spite my ex.
I am simply God's creation and I operate on spy.
Gex can return with a new game. Everyone say Gex in the comments. Let's manifest it. Wahoo! I love saying that. Klonoa is a cute and charming 2.5D side-scroller that was released for the PlayStation in 1997. It was developed and published by Namco, now known as Bandai Namco. The dream-traveling creature captured the hearts of players, but would soon fade into obscurity after the Wii release. Klonoa had plans for a movie courtesy of Henshin Inc., but it was cancelled. Every now and then, the little guy would pop in and out to stay above water with merchandise, and the now 4-year-old remaster of the first two games. Also, the Empire of Dreams was added to the GBA Switch Online library, but a new Klonoa game might be a distant dream. I would love a fully 3D Klonoa game, where you can board down levels in a 3D environment. I daydream about this off and on, much like an affordable Klonoa plush. Please! The developer expressed interest in a new Klonoa game when the Wii game was released, but since sales were poor, no such game was developed. The same can be said for the Fantasy Reverie games. If sales did well, then maybe we could expect something new for Klonoa. 4 years later, we haven't heard a word. All we can do is dream. The limbless hero Rayman made his debut on the PlayStation back in 1995. Hey, that's the year I was born! The first game is known for its difficulty and charming graphics, while Rayman 2 is known as a fan favorite. Rayman 3 is also beloved, but I don't hear much about it. All games, including Legends and Origins, were praised by critics. Unfortunately, Ubisoft would favor the Rabbids for their popularity over Rayman. Many fans were upset that their favorite limbless boy would fade into the background. Sure, Rayman would return with 2D side-scrollers, but fans would love to see Rayman return to the third dimension. There have been reports that, allegedly, Ubisoft is interested in releasing a remake and then a new game after. I take this info with a grain of salt, since reports like this can be misleading. That could just be me being skeptical though. So let's hope that with Rayman 2 being in the Nintendo 64 Switch Online library, it'll spark interest. Originally debuted as a racer in Diddy Kong Racing, it's Conker. His first game was on the Game Boy Color with Pocket Adventures, and his iconic classic on the Nintendo 64, Bad Fur Day. Conker hasn't been seen since Project Spark, but that was canned due to service shutdowns. I remember first seeing that scrat-looking Conker, kinda creepy. Yeah, it's not likely he'll get a new game, but hypothetically, if Conker were to get a new game, it would likely be similar to Bad Fur Day with a modern coat of paint. The question is, would it have the same adult humor? Maybe like Hazbin Hotel. I know, I'll have people after me with torches and pitchforks for that. Chill guys, it's purely hypothetical. Put down that chainsaw, Carl.
Carl, I'll take that chainsaw.
Microsoft still owns the IP, so there's a chance, but you're more likely to open a God Pack and Prismatic Evolutions. Sorry. It's our favorite Tasmanian Tiger from the Outback, Ty. This little dude with double boomerangs received 4 games with a positive to mixed reception. Same with their remasters. The people at Chrome Studios have ideas for new Ty games, but if their games keep getting mixed reception, then the studio will likely not go through with a new game. Regardless, it'd be awesome to see Ty return in a new game, or even a reboot. Does that sound good, mate? Here to save you from your nightmares is Knights. This lovable purple jester soared into Sega Saturn in 1996. The game is fondly remembered and was the best-selling game on the Saturn. While Sega still has Knights appear in other games, like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, there is no word about a new Knights game or remake in development. Kinda sad, since Knights has a lot of potential. Balan Wonderworld was like Knights, to an extent, but failed critically. Knights would never. Come on, Knights! It'd be a dream come true to see you back in action. Thanks to the Switch Online service, I had the privilege to play Chibi-Robo, and it was a blast. This adorable little robot made his debut on the GameCube in 2005. He would also get games on the DS and 3DS, but they failed to meet the expectations fans had for the franchise. The sad reality is, there will likely not be another Chibi-Robo game. However, there is a spiritual successor by the name of Ko-Robo, backed on Kickstarter. The game appears to have references to the old Chibi-Robo game. I mean, duh, the devs were part of Skip Ltd, the studio that brought Chibi-Robo to life. Let's hope this game lives up to the title of spiritual successor. Let's go back in time to Blinx the Time Sweeper. This time-traveling cat made his debut in 2002 for the Xbox. The games received average to mixed reviews. Despite Microsoft owning the Blinx IP, there are no plans for a new Blinx game. Sad as it is, Blinx is a dead franchise. People who watch my Blinx merchandise video already knew that, but I still want to give the cat recognition. The star that needs more of a spotlight is Ristar, inspired by the old Sonic mechanic of having Fields the Rabbit grab with his ears, allegedly. Ristar made his debut on the Sega Genesis in 1995 and got a solid 89% from critics. The game has been ported to many classic collections and on various eShops, but there are no plans for a new Ristar game. At this point, he's just a cameo character, though the lights still shine even though the star is gone. I feel a 3D Ristar game would be interesting. Would it play like Sonic Werehog? I don't think so. Another Sega icon I feel would be cool to see back in action, Billy Hatcher. The first and only game featuring this silly little guy was released on the GameCube back in 2003. It sold poorly with mixed reviews. With a modern touch, I think Billy Hatcher would be cool. The concept of rolling eggs or objects in general is not new, but it's fun. Katamari Damacy for the win! Also, the character Billy has made appearances in other Sega games, like Sega Superstars, Sonic Rider Zero Gravity, and Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. Everyone say hashtag Billy for Crossworlds. We can make it happen! The last icon of the day I'm going to mention is none other than Alex Kidd, debuting in 1986 for the Sega Master System, garnering positive reviews. The first game would get a remake with mixed reviews. Some like it, some don't. Alex Kidd would appear as a playable character in Sega Superstars Tennis and the All-Stars Racing games. The likelihood of another Alex Kidd game is greater than Ristar and Billy Hatcher, but as stated previously, with other icons, the mixed reception tends to guide the franchise's destiny. A 3D Alex Kidd adventure would be cool, but would it live up to the high expectations of modern players? You can only guess. Not all video game icons are created equal. Some live for decades, some are only here for a season, and some pass the torch to another. It's bittersweet, but maybe it's better that some are laid to rest. Hundreds of years from now, these icons can become lost media. Thankfully, video game preservation is at an all-time high. The Video Game History Foundation is a non-profit organization dedicated to preserving video games and their history. While we may never get Banjo 3E, a new Conker game, a Tie 5, or a third Blinks game, we can dream and take matters into our own hands for love of the game. It's okay to mourn the death over video game icons, but after you process that loss, move on and embrace the present. We can't linger in the past forever. Here and Now has a lot more to offer than you realize. So go out there and discover new worlds, new experiences, and new characters to fall in love with.